right, everybody. Welcome to this is going to be a thrilling episode of Another Bourbon Show. One of the most thrilling episodes we've potentially ever had.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
we're filming. We're all in Ukraine right now.
We are in downtown Kiev.
Coming to you live from Kiev, Another Bourbon Show. Ba-da-ba-ba.
By the time this actually airs a week from now, there won't be a Kiev and nobody's going to get the joke.
We will have Men in Black thinged away everybody's memory of Kiev. You're going to have no frame of reference.
Hey, that's the best you've looked in a long time, Ryan. Shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm back.
Okay. No, I'm being
I thought he
playful.
pressed the touch-up appearance button and it just took him away completely.
That is how he looks best, like I said. Oh God. So tonight we are drinking a not whiskey. We are drinking something that
not a bourbon. It's a whiskey.
Not a bourbon.
It's not a whiskey.
It's blended with bourbon whiskey.
Oh, you're
It's
right.
blended
Okay.
with bourbon whiskey.
Okay, I got you.
And if you wouldn't have rudely interrupted me, what I was going to say is we're drinking a not whiskey that at one point was a whiskey, but became a not whiskey and became a liqueur. Stephen.
In my defense, this is the kind of stuff you mess up all the time.
All right, that's fair.
It's from Oregon. It's American honey. One time.
2 weeks ago. Anyway, so tonight we are going to be drinking some Wild Turkey American honey. You can always tell when we are between shipments. Oh, we got the 3 various sizes too. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Actually, here's the thing, viewers. We all have the same size. It's just that Steven's hands are massive and mine are tiny. So
I was going to crush it if I could.
Yeah, you can always tell when we're like between shipments to and from each other because we record like the shittiest episodes. Like, we just drink the swill.
Well, hey, I mean, let's not call it swill, okay? Before we've given our fucking rating, all right? Let's leave some.
Hey, I do want to throw out there that I know for a fact this tastes fantastic on waffles, and I'm not even kidding you. And it goes really well in coffee. Okay, just throwing that out there. True story. But tonight we are drinking Wild Turkey American Honey, 71 proof Wild Turkey product flavored with honey, syrupy as shit. But most importantly, Steven, what do you think about that label?
Tell us, dude.
We are on the edge of our seats.
I think that this is a really good looking bottle. I'm a big fan of most of the Wild Turkey stuff, except for like the most recent Wild Turkey 101 label, the redesign. I don't like it. I previously gave the Wild Turkey 101 bottle a really good score on this show, and I think this falls right in line with it. It's just, I think it's cool that they didn't just go with showing the turkey. I mean, they obviously do, but there's enough pizzazz to it where they show the silhouette and everything. It's, you know, as the kids would say, it's a big dick move to have just the silhouette of the turkey, just to, you know who we are kind of thing. This is kind of the equivalent in the liqueur world, I would say, to the the Macallan label that we just had, because it's very much kind of like showy, but it's just kind of going the other way with it. And so I like that the honestly, other than like showing the turkey and the Wild Turkey font being there pretty light, the American honey takes the center stage here. Like, oh, yeah. You could, if you were not a real like bourbon person, which is possible if you're buying this, then you might just know it as American honey. And I think that's cool too, that they let the bottle stand on its own. Because it looks so cool and everything, all that said, I'm going to give it an 8. I think for what it is, it's really cool. I don't think it's like one of the best labels of all time, but I think it deserves kudos. It's a cool looking bottle on the shelf.
Yeah. I'm fully supportive, and I would have been supportive if you had even gone higher than an 8.0, to be honest with you. For like I know you focus specifically on the label, but the shape of the bottle is freaking cool. When you combine the like color, very honey color of the liqueur with the turkey in the background and the shape of the bottle, and it's got these grooves on the side of the bottle, you throw all that together and it is like, it's borderline like prestigious presentation
which is
for
ridiculous for
a $20 bottle,
yeah.
right? Like, yeah, it's ridiculous, but I thought they knocked it out of the park.
They could have put this in
bo-
a plastic bottle. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
didn't. So
Yep.
the bottle reminds me of Johnny Walker, like just the
Mm-hmm.
of it. Very similar. Outside, the glass itself.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
It's nice though.
Like,
Even the 375 is cool. Sticks out on the shelf and gives a back seat to the Wild Turkey name. Almost, they want this not a separate entity, but they want the honey name to be the forefront, not the Wild Turkey name.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which usually you don't see, because all these companies want their brand name the first thing you see, but not with this.
Yeah. And even up here at the top, all it says up there is American honey. Doesn't say anything about Wild Turkey up at the top. Even the lid is just American honey. So yeah, kudos to them. But why don't we taste it? I mean, I don't have a mash bill for it. It's a liqueur. It's probably, let's be honest here, it's probably whiskey that didn't even make the cut to be like blended into 101. That they say, well, let's proof it down and add some honey to it. And so who knows what the mash bill is. Low proof, goes good on waffles. What else could you want?
It's not as low as you'd think though. It's still 35.5%. I mean,
70.
It's 70,
71 proof.
Which next week, spoiler, we're doing Jack honey, and I believe the American honey came after the Jack honey, because Jack honey is 70 proof and 35%, and American honey is 35.5%, 71 proof. That is definitely intentional.
Stays with their trend. And I mean, it's kind of gimmicky, but it's cool, like a cool gimmick at the same time.
Yeah.
Always being just one proof higher than the standard, I guess you'd say. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's drink.
cheers.
Cheers. Oh, look at that fancy glass he's got.
Like that.
Is that a brandy? Is that called a brandy snifter? What is that?
Yeah. I found it at work. Like, I'll start drinking out of this thing. On the nose, it's very.
Oh yeah.
Funny. I mean, it's just. I mean, you don't get. Obviously, you're not going to, but very sweet.
Yeah.
I forgot to nose it.
It's effectively honey. I mean, it's syrup. Now, I think this is way more. This is like a honey lover's drink, which I know is like, you could say it's obvious, and maybe it is, but like as opposed to like Jack honey that we'll get to next week, I feel like that's a Jack fan's honey, or like it's more of like a whiskey fan's honey. I feel like this really leans into, if you like honey and you want alcohol, this is a way to do that. It's just it's a different mindset. It's super honey filled.
I will say this, like swallowing it, you actually do get a burn.
You do, and you get a hug all the way down to your tummy. And I want to throw out there that I also get a bunch of lemon. Like,
Yes.
like there's a lot of lemon flavor to it, like specifically lemon, no other citrus. It's fucking lemon.
And it's on the mainly for me, it's on the aftertaste. There's a little bit on the palate.
Mhm.
It's like a second or two after I've taken a drink. It's all pine sol-y.
I get a little bit of cherry too.
Oh,
Some cherryness to it. I honestly do. Like when you open a jar, like you smell, like it smells like this, like candied cherries.
I just muted him.
Like when you open like a thing of kitty cocktail, like the cherry that go into the kitty cocktail, like that's what it smells like and tastes like.
I can see what you're saying. It does have that a little bit, but I think that's mainly just from like the sugars.
I would agree with that. Like, I don't get any cherry at all, and I was just fucking around with you, Ryan. If you get cherries, you get cherries. I don't personally. I get sugar overload.
But you don't.
Like it.
Ryan doesn't even really mean the cherries. I don't think you mean specifically like the syrup in like cherries.
Yeah, like
Right.
where you like when you're at a bar, you order a kitty cocktail for your, if you'd order for Augie, and they open up where all the fruit is, and they take the cherry out, and you smell like that cherry juice that the cherry was in. That specifically is
Would
what I'm
Annie
talking
let
about.
you order a cocktail for Augie? I was gonna say I feel like that's flying too close to the sun.
And I wouldn't do it either.
Or a Shirley Temple. I mean, Sprite and grenadine. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then
he's not allowed Sprite.
there's no caffeine.
Ryan, this is unimaginable for Ryan.
The caffeine isn't the issue, dude. He's 5, dude. He drinks water and milk. That's it. And juice.
The Chinaman is not the issue here, dude.
Oh man. So sipping this neat is not a good decision. Like for me personally, it is way too sweet for me to sip neat, which is why I bought it to put it on waffles as a stupid thing to do videos on for a week.
And you needed a $750 for that?
I didn't look around for a 350s. It never crossed my mind that there's probably smaller bottles out there.
I was pissed I had to buy a 375. Steven's like, oh, you didn't find the airplane bottle? I'm like, no. I don't know what place you're going to that has this in airplane bottles.
Almost everywhere I go.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I was kind of surprised you couldn't also find it.
Yeah. This is at least you get a burn at the end, so it's a little worthwhile. But that first sip I had, I don't know if you saw in the video, I was like, I wasn't grimacing because of the alcohol content. I was like, sugar rush.
Oh,
sweet.
Yeah.
So sweet.
I got this, by the way, at a Schnucks right by the checkout. You could there's a basket of them. You could just grab.
It'd be funny, McConaughey doing like a dramatic commercial for American Honey.
in his Lincoln.
His Lincoln, yeah.
Sometimes you just want a fuckload of sugar. That's luxury. All right.
All right. I bet there are some insane cocktails you could make with this. Like, add a splash of it to a Coke, and I bet it tastes damn good. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You can
no,
go
you're good.
I was just gonna say, I feel like it's almost already its own cocktail, and you almost just need to proof it up or something. I don't know. It's like it's a really weird spot for me where there's not a lot I'd mix it with. Mm-hmm. Just because it's already so low proof. I would do shots of it, but then otherwise I feel like you've almost got to add, I don't know, just maybe if you threw like a dash or two of bitters in a glass with it and a cherry or something. I don't know. It's like a partial old fashioned. I don't even know if that's a thing. There's not much I can think to do with it, honestly. Having on waffles, I guess, if you got a problem.
What if you use this as your simple syrup?
That could be interesting.
Like, that literally just popped into my brain. Like, make an old fashioned, but instead of using a simple syrup, use this as your simple syrup.
But because got that hug and everything,
it's that close. It's that sweet.
But because it still has a little bit of a hug to it, I think that I wouldn't do that if I was making an old fashioned with something that high proof. But if you're doing it with like a Wild Turkey 101 or something right in that range, I think it's probably okay.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
So Ryan, you bartended for how many years?
I like five or so.
Okay.
A little
What
under
would
5.
you use this for? I know you didn't, but try being creative for once in your life. And what would you use this for if you were making a cocktail?
I might, instead of vodka, like with an Arnold Palmer, like kind of based off that, tea, lemonade, a little bit of this. I
Hmm.
feel like would complement that really well. Um, Even like I know you said you mix a coffee, but just some hot tea, even,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if that's what someone was going for. But yeah, I like that route of Arnold Palmer with American honey in it. I think would be pretty good. As long as the lemonade you're using isn't sugary lemonade, because then that would just be sugar overload. So get one of those a little more sour type lemonades, shot of this, and then some tea, unsweetened tea. I think that would be good.
Okay, hear me out. Tell me if I'm being dumb here or not. What if you made a mojito using this? The
I mean,
honey
yeah, I
with the
can see that.
mint, like add a splat, like make a mojito like you usually would, but then add a splash of this
Yeah,
to sweeten the mojito up a little bit. And the like combination of honey with the mint, I bet would be
Or
pretty damn good.
a julep as well.
Or a julep, yeah. Because
I,
I feel like honey would go with mint. This level of sweet honey would go with mint.
you get an acidity out of this too.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
lemon.
that lemon. Yeah, that's why I like the Arnold Palmer route. But I could see that with the mojito too.
The Arnold Palmer's. That's a good call.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good summer drink. That's probably when I'll break into this next, honestly,
Yeah,
because
Dan's asking for tips because he's like, I gotta get rid of
yeah,
this fucking 750 of this.
So now you see that. Okay, so when I had the bonehead decision of having a week of Willet waffle, putting whiskey on waffles, why this was a natural go-to.
oh
And
yeah, for sure.
keep in mind, I was at the liquor store when I had the idea for Willet Waffle, the series. So it's not like I was like, oh, that'd be fun. Let me go to the liquor store and get some stuff. It was, hey, that'd be dumb. Let's do this and grab things off the shelf that I didn't already have.
Have you done a Willet waffle with Willet?
I didn't. Um, because there's no sweetness to Willet. I did consider it,
Just because of the name, I feel like you got to do it once.
but I didn't.
I mean, it's probably the only reason why you should drink Willet bourbon in the first place is on some waffles, because that is not a good bourbon.
Well,
This is so sweet, man.
it is. It is. Do we want to go ahead and rate it?
I think so.
Let's do it. I'll go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go.
through it.
Yeah, I did like the hug at the end and everything like that. It's not something I would really go to unless I was doing a shot of it, I guess. I would like to mix it in that Arnold Palmer I talked about earlier, but outside of that, I can't really see drinking it. It's just too sweet. And I don't think it's a bad product. I'm sure there's a huge market on this. It's got to be behind Jack Honey, like the second biggest honey whiskey in the market, which they're two heavy hitters. They're good, but I'm gonna go 4.5. Not something in my wheelhouse, unfortunately.
Yeah. You want to go, Steven, or you want me to? Your call. Your
I'll
choice.
go. I'll just give it a 5.4. I think
Okay.
I'll do it a little bit. I like it a little more than Ryan, I think. I would do shots of this all the time. That's fine. Um, but it's tough for me to recommend it any higher or give it a higher score because I would basically only do shots of it. And really, at that, I would rather do shots of Screwball or something. I'm just a bigger peanut butter fan, and I think that this typically when you're doing shots of something like especially like kind of like party shots or whatever, you want to just like light, easy to drink, And I do think that there's enough harshness at the end and enough of that, like I said earlier, like that pine sol-y taste to it that, you pointed out, Dan, with the lemon, that I think that ultimately it makes it a less pleasant experience than doing something like Screwball or even, God forbid, Fireball, which I am less of a fan of, but I think is overall a more pleasant type of burning aftertaste than this. So 5.4.
Okay. So I've gone back and forth, and I'm going to go with a flat 5.5. Okay. And here's my reasoning. I could not do shots of this. It is way too sweet for me to do shots of. I would much rather do shots of Fireball than shots of this, because I know for a fact that this would just give me a horrible stomach ache because of the amount of sweetness that's in there. So that knocks some points off. I knocked some points off because I could not drink it neat. It's just, again, too sweet to drink neat. So that knocks some points off. I take a few more points off specifically because I have never had a cocktail that used it. So I can't really give it credit for being a good mixer either. Though I do think that it probably is really good in those drinks that we just mentioned. Probably, first of all, the Arnold Palmer that you mentioned, Ryan. So that would knock it down to like a 4.0 in my eyes. But it gets credit because it is actually legit really good on waffles. It is legit really, really good in coffee. And that bumps it all the way back up to a 5.5. And I stand by the fact that I would never do shots of this. Maybe I might do one, but if somebody said, hey, do another, no, fuck you, give me something else. That's too much. But I give it a lot of credit for being as good on waffles as it is.
I'd rather drink a shot of Beam, the 5.0 Beam over this any day.
I would too.
That's why I'm like, I can't go over the 5.0 on it just because of that.
I go 5.5 strictly for waffles and coffee. Sorry. I
would rather do shots of Beam over like Fireball too, though, to be fair. But I know that a lot of people wouldn't. And a lot of people are looking for something like this. And a lot of people don't do 12 shots of something, right? Like most time you'll do a few shots. You might even do several shots, but
nobody that hangs out with us. Fucking losers.
But you're not gonna. But I think in that range, I don't think I would get a stomach ache from it, but I do get what you're saying. So I still think it's just as good a shooter as some of the other stuff I mentioned. I think anyway.
Another Bourbon show.
Fucking bitch. Jesus.
Shit. What's wrong?
Fuck.
The bottle's weighing, dude.
It wouldn't open. Jesus Christ. God.
So how come you guys couldn't do the American Honey episode again? Oh, I'll tell you.